With coverage you can count on, this is Channel 3 Eyewitness News, live at 5.
I'm David Carroll, live at Dalton High School. There was chaos this afternoon. A teacher barricaded himself in a room and fired a gunshot through a window. We'll have details.
Plus, today we hear from Jonthany Walker for the first time since the Woodmore bus crash.
Were you utilizing your cellular phone in any way in the moments before this accident happened?
We hear his story of what happened before, during, and after the crash.
With coverage you can count on, this is Channel 3 Eyewitness News, live at 5.
Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. I'm Cindy Sexton. A developing story we've been following all day. A teacher fired at least one shot in a classroom at Dalton High School. Police say a witness heard gunfire and called police. We have multiple crews gathering new information about what happened. We begin with David Carroll, live in Dalton.
Well, Cindy, this afternoon, Dalton High School was a scene of panic and chaos. You had students running down the hall after a very frightening situation. 53-year-old Randall Davidson, a 14-year social studies and history teacher here at Dalton High School, apparently barricaded himself into a room. The principal tried to communicate with him, and that was not going to happen. And the principal heard a gunshot, and that's when students started running everywhere. Of course, during the past couple of weeks, we've had so many threats and scary situations in schools across the United States. As it turned out, he did not shoot himself. He did not shoot any student. He apparently shot that bullet through a window, but certainly it caused a great deal of panic. Now, here's what we know about Mr. Davidson. He has been here since 14 years. He's well known as the voice of the Catamounts in football and basketball. He even wrote a book about the Dalton sports program. And very well respected, very well liked among the students and faculty here at Dalton High School. So this certainly came as a surprise. He was certainly apprehended by police and has been undergoing various examinations, just whether it be physical, mental, just to determine what caused this gunfire to erupt here at Dalton today. Once again, the important thing, all the students are safe. One did injure an ankle in the skirmish just trying to get out of the school. Of course, the school resource officer plays an important role in events like this, and Channel 3 Eyewitness News reporter Kate Smith joins us now here at Dalton High School with that part of the story.
That's right, David. I spoke to several police officers who were running into the high school when students were being evacuated and hiding in classrooms, and they say it's exactly what you see on TV, and the moments were absolutely horrifying. We learned this afternoon that the school's resource officer was actually at the middle school's campus and not the high school's campus when he got the call. The school's principal radioed that Mr. Davison was not acting normal and he wasn't allowing students into his classroom. The principal tried entering the classroom, and that's when Mr. Davison said that he had a gun. Immediately, the school's principal went on the radio and said that the school was now on a threat lockdown, and the school's resource officer was on his way back to the high school. I am told that threat lockdown is practiced often by students, and it's something they never wanted to do in real life.
And a lot of brave teachers today do a lot of brave acts, and so I appreciate them deeply. They did exactly what we trained to do, and so that if anything out of all this, that was good to see.
The school's resource officer is the one that got Mr. Davison in custody. He has been with the Dalton High School for only 2 to 3 years now, and parents were told not to go to the high school to pick up their children. Instead, they were directed to go to the Northwest Georgia Convention Center, and that's where we find Cameron Taylor with more.
And Kate, parents continue to pick up their kids this afternoon from the convention center. I want to show you, there's parents still spilling in, getting their kids. There was quite a long line when we were in there just a few minutes ago, but this is where parents have been told to pick up their kids and not the high school. Kids were taken here by a bus. We want to show you some of that video. There were several school buses that came here to the convention center, and parents are still rushing to get their children this afternoon. Understandably, a lot of them are upset. They were waiting for more information. One student we spoke with who was in a classroom nearby says that he heard a loud bang. He was in the classroom next door to the teacher, and from there the teacher told them to hunker down behind desks. That was his teacher in the other classroom, and that was used to protect themselves. And this student had no idea what was going on initially, but says he was frightened by what he heard.
She was everybody take cover, turn off your cell phones and be quiet, and then she made sure everyone was all right, and then she just made sure it was good, and then she started looking outside the window, making sure everything was okay, and then by then the police officers came inside and told us to run to the gym.
And those are some things that students and teachers are told they need to do whenever a situation like this arises. I was told they are on a code red for a threat. And students I spoke with never expected that a teacher would be involved in something like this. They say teachers are the ones that are supposed to protect them. And understandably, they're upset, and many of them saying that they don't want to return to school. But we are still waiting on to find out if that will be the case, if school will be in session tomorrow. For now, live in Dalton, Cameron Taylor, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
Thank you, Cameron. Parents were scrambling to reach their children who were inside Dalton High School. Natalie Potts has been following social media, and you can tell us how parents and students were using that to communicate.
Yeah, Cindy, it was absolutely terrifying, as you can imagine. One parent we talked to shared those terrifying moments. She tried to reach her daughter today. Anne-Marie Jacobs received a text from her daughter, Emma, saying they were, quote, "We're under a threat attack," and, quote, "It's real." Moments later, another text saying a teacher had locked himself in a room and was, quote, "freaking out, yelling." A few texts later, she wrote, "He has a gun." Then, quote, "People are saying he's holding kids inside of his room, but I don't know." We later learned that Davidson was in fact barricaded in a classroom by himself. Anne-Marie shared with us the text she sent pleading with her daughter to answer the phone. Her daughter could not answer because the teacher was blocking the door with a desk and had instructed students to stay quiet. Not knowing what was happening, Emma then writes to her mother saying, "The SWAT team is here." Now, this cell phone video from inside the school shows students running for the exit in a panic. Police say at least one student suffered an ankle injury during that chaos. That student was treated on the scene and is okay. Students we talked to say teachers encouraged them to be quiet as they ran. The teacher police say is responsible for all of this is also receiving support on social media. Many who know him are asking for prayers. Students are also posting about Davidson, saying he was a role model, making it hard to understand why this has happened. Cindy?
Natalie, thank you. Exactly 1 week ago, the principal used Facebook to spread the word about keeping students safe. Latrice Curry joins us live with more on what he had to say. Latrice.
Well, Cindy, the principal, Steve Bartu, decided to post the message last Thursday after 3 students reported that they found a threatening note on the floor of a classroom. After that, the principal and the students made videos to stress the importance of, if you see something, say something. And we have this full video on our website for you to take a look at. New this afternoon, a bill that would allow some teachers to carry guns on campuses across Tennessee. That's according to the Tennessean. The proposal will allow one school employee to carry a gun for every 75 students enrolled at the school. That person will need to maintain a state-issued handgun carry permit and complete 40 hours of handgun training. House Civil Justice Subcommittee Chairman Mike Carter of Ottawa sponsored that bill. Cindy?
Thanks, Latrice. This story is, of course, developing with new information coming in. Stay with us by downloading the WRCB app and following us throughout the evening on air. And right now, we have breaking news. A crew is headed to Battlefield Parkway. A car and a school bus collided there. We have few details right now, but the Georgia State Patrol is there. They tell us no students are hurt. Stay with us on air and online, as we'll bring you more as soon as it's available. Well, new details tonight in the Vocker explosion that injured workers last year. The Tennessee Occupational Safety and Health Administration has issued 2 citations against Vocker for 9 serious violations and fined the Charleston facility more than $31,000. That explosion injured several employees and forced nearby residents to shelter in place. A spokesperson for the Department of Labor says Tennessee Occupational Safety and Health Administration investigators are still completing their investigation into a chemical release that happened before the explosion.
Flood watches continue across the Tennessee Valley. Heavy rain will continue all night long and into the first half of tomorrow. I've got all the details. We'll tell you how much rain has fallen so far, and we'll check out the radar on my 7 Day forecast.
In Florida, students returned to class today exactly 2 weeks after 17 people were killed in their school shooting. They were in class for half a day. Extra counselors and principals from around the school district were there to help ease the students into their day. A heavy police presence surrounded the school as students entered and left the school grounds. The superintendent praised them for their resilience in the aftermath of the tragedy. Many said they were relieved to actually get back to some type of normalcy. Dick's Sporting Goods is no longer selling assault-style rifles after the school shooting in Parkland, Florida. In a news release, Dick's says it sold a shotgun to Parkland shooter Nicholas Cruz in November. Now, it was not the type of gun, or the type of gun he used in the shooting. Dick's executives say assault-style rifles have already been removed from all stores. In addition to the store will no longer sell high-capacity magazines or firearms to anyone under the age of 21. Murray County, Georgia sheriff's deputies arrested a 16-year-old at North Murray High School this morning. The student allegedly posted a threat on Snapchat. The father of another student reported the threat to the sheriff's office. No weapon was found, but the student was arrested. And now we move to day 2 of the Jonthany Walker trial. The state has rested its case and the jury is deliberating. We have more on what Walker had to say while testifying in his defense.
We got a couple of rivers already starting to go up, and they probably will flood. And this is going to continue all night long, so we're going to see more problems coming up. I've got all the details, how much more rain we're going to see on my 7-day forecast.
Channel 3 Eyewitness News traffic sponsored by CHM Memorial's Mary Ellen Locher Breast Center. Our team works to find breast cancer earlier and treat it with the most advanced methods available. Visit MaryEllenLocher.com.
Roads are wet. Drive carefully out there. Make sure you put those headlights on. Also, watch out for accidents working Brainerd Road at Germantown, 58 at Oakland, Signal Mountain Road at Muncie, and also an accident East 3rd at Hampton. Commute time on I-24 eastbound right now from downtown to 75, about 13 to 15 minutes. From the U.S. 101 Information Center, it's Mo with your Eyewitness News traffic.
Mo, thank you. Bus driver Jonthany Walker took the stand to defend himself and testify on what happened the night of the deadly crash. Michelle Herron joins us live now from the courthouse with more. Michelle.
Well, Cindy, the trial has been a quick one. Attorneys were able to wrap it up into 2 days, and jurors have been deliberating for a little bit over an hour now. The biggest part of the day was just as you mentioned, when Jonthany Walker took the stand in his own defense to explain what happened in his own words. Jurors got to hear from the man behind the wheel of bus 366 about what he says happened the day of the crash that killed 6 children.
Once I veered to the right and then veered back to the left, I figured, I'm back on the road at that point and I'm moving on.
Jonthany Walker explained he was trying to avoid a crash with a white transport van when he lost control and told jurors he answered a phone call through his Bluetooth headphones while in the school's parking lot. He testified the call lasted about 10 seconds and believed call logs showed a longer duration because no one hung up.
I was under the assumption that the other caller would hang up the phone.
Okay.
That's in both lines.
How would you have hung up the phone? Okay. Did you press that button?
Walker says he was not using his phone at the time of the crash and wasn't speeding. He also explained Tally Road became part of his route as students moved during the school year.
In the morning and the evening, students, like I said, get taken off or added to your stop or your route. And if that student no longer rides your bus, or are they going to appear at the bus stop at a different time if your route changes?
Prosecutors pointed to physical evidence from the crash, saying it doesn't match Walker's account of what happened. It will be up to the jury to decide which side they believe.
Bye.
Now, to put it simple for you, the jurors either have to believe what the evidence shows or what Walker said on the stand. And the hardest part here is if all 12 can agree beyond a reasonable doubt. That's the key here in this case. We're following it closely, and we're going to keep you updated. A lot of people asking, are we going to have a verdict tonight? We could, but we also couldn't. We're just going to have to wait and see, but we'll keep you updated. For now, reporting live in Hamilton County, I'm Michelle Herron, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
Michelle, thank you. Normally, we would have stayed with Paul almost the whole newscast. So much breaking news today, Paul, but I have a feeling a lot of flooding and other problems are going to be part of our breaking news as well. Tell us more about what's happening.
There probably will be, Cindy. South Chick Creek is, we're expecting it to flood, but not horribly. It's going to be a moderate flood. It's not going to be that bad. It's going to crest on Friday afternoon. Lookout Creek is going to flood too, and there's going to be a lot of flooding going on right across this whole section you see in this light green here as the rain continues through tonight. This is the way the radar's looking now, and these systems are training. That means they're going over the same spot, just like if there was a railroad track there, the storms are just going over the same spot over and over again. And look how far it goes back, actually all the way to Texarkana, along the Texas-Oklahoma border, and it's pushing off towards the east. And it's going to continue all night long and through at least the first half of tomorrow. It's 53 right now, and in Dalton 55 in Cleveland. Murphy's at 50 with the winds out of the south at 5 miles an hour. 58 was the high, 48 the overnight low. We're working on 2 inches so far at the airport, about 1.85 so far, but it's going to be over 2 inches probably in the next hour or so. And these are Skywatcher reports. Almost 2 inches Varnell, 1.6 Dalton and Chatsworth, close to 1.5 inches out into the Blue Ridge, 1.6 in Scottsboro, 1.5 in Tryon, and over 2 inches Signal Mountain, Mowbray Mountain, Red Bank's had over 2 inches, and about 1.5 inches to 1 2/3 from Ottawa, East Ridge, Ringgold, all the way to Cleveland at 2.1, Mowbray Mountain about 2 inches, and then we got to about 1.3 up on Cagle Mountain. Colmont though 2.1. Dunlap 2 inches so far. Now east of the city, not as much, a little less than 1 inch, although Turtletown came within 1 inch, and Murphy also 1.1, Jasper about 1.5. Here's the way Vipercast is painting this stuff. This is by overnight, all night long it's going to rain, and then some more heavy rain at around 8 o'clock. Could have some thunderstorms with some of this as it moves on by. And then it breaks apart in the afternoon and becomes more showery. So that means sort of off and on lighter rain showers. And then it ends by tomorrow night. And into Friday, we got to see some breaks in the clouds. We'll have a stiff northerly wind. I think the winds will be out of the north throughout the day on Friday, about 15 to 20 miles an hour. But the sun will come back on Friday and right into Saturday and Sunday too, so that'll be great. But again, we're expecting another, at least whatever you've got now, you add another 2 to 3 inches on top of that. That's more than likely what you're going to see. So for tonight, rain, fog, 54, could be flooding problems if you live near a creek or a stream. Keep an eye on it. 63 tomorrow, clouds, fog, and more rain, and westerly winds 10 to 15. Tomorrow night, the winds really start to pick up out of the northwest to 15 to 20, but the showers will be ending. It's going to be cool at 42, and then on Friday, 60, but breezy. You could call it windy, too. And then coming up, near freezing, coming up Saturday morning. A lot of spots we'll see lows in the 20s to 30s. And then coming up on Sunday, we're looking at 63. Monday, 64. More rain Tuesday and Wednesday, about 55 degrees, but it should be dry. And we'll be right back after this.
New at 5, White House Communications Director Hope Hicks is resigning. Now, this news comes one day after Hicks was interviewed for 9 hours by the panel investigating Russia interference in the 2016 election. She acknowledged to a House intelligence panel that she has occasionally told white lies for President Trump. Well, people in our nation's capital are paying their respects to the Reverend Billy Graham. The late evangelist is lying in honor in the U.S. Capitol Rotunda today and tomorrow. Graham's son Franklin, daughter Ann, and some 24 other family members traveled to Washington. They greeted visitors as they filed through the rotunda, shaking hands and sharing stories. Reverend Graham will be laid to rest Friday at his library in Charlotte, North Carolina. Still ahead, we will continue our team coverage from Dalton High School, where a teacher was arrested in connection to the incident. Breaking news right now. Randall Davidson has officially been charged with aggravated assault, carrying a weapon on school grounds, terroristic threats, reckless conduct, possession of a gun during the commission of a crime, and disruption of public school. He apparently took the gun onto campus in his computer case when he arrived at school this morning. We have also learned the weapon was a snub-nosed .38 revolver. Police say they still do not have a motive in the incident today in Dalton. One person has been taken to a local hospital after they were hit by a vehicle. The incident happened in the 100 block of North Market Street. Chattanooga police are investigating. We haven't been told if it's a man or a woman. Investigators say a member of a crime scene cleanup crew has been charged with stealing money from a Tennessee home. The Tennessee Bureau of Investigation says Christopher Bianchi was a member of a crew that cleaned up a home where a homicide occurred last year in Williamson County. In November, agents began investigating the theft of an envelope containing cash from a bedroom in the home in Georgia. Bianchi was indicted on a theft charge and arrested. Thank you for joining us for Eyewitness News Live at 5. Live at 5:30 starts now.